Welcome to RP Revenge.
The first time my mother refused to video call me, I thought it was because of the storm. But when she rejected it again, and again, and again, I knew something had cracked. It was a rainy Friday night in Toronto, the kind where the city felt like glass, wet, reflective, and fragile. My apartment window trembled with the wind as I reheated leftover curry and tried her number for the fourth time. She answered, finally, voice hushed and brittle. "Ma. You sound tired. Everything okay?" She hesitated. That small pause, the kind that squeezes your heart before the words even come, made my stomach twist. "Don't come," she said finally. "Just send money when you can." My hand froze on the countertop. "What?" "You heard me, Mira. Stay there. You have your life now. I'm fine here." It wasn't the words that broke me, it was the tone. Cold. Guarded. Like she was talking to a stranger. My mother never spoke that way. She was the kind of woman who used to tuck my hair behind my ear during every call, even through a screen. Who'd remind me to wear wool socks and say, "I love you," before hanging up, even if we'd fought. But that night she hung up without saying it. And something inside me splintered. For 12 years I'd worked double shifts in a nursing home, saving every dollar to send home to her. My father had died when I was 16. My mother had raised me alone in our village in Punjab, stubborn and proud. She refused to remarry, calling me her miracle, and vowing that one day when I built her a big house, she'd finally rest. That was our dream. So why did she sound like she wanted me gone from her life? That night I didn't sleep. I scrolled through our old messages, the voice notes where she laughed about the neighborhood gossip, her little "Good Morning Mary Beatty" videos. She hadn't sent any in weeks. Not one. Something wasn't right. The next morning I called my cousin back home. "Raj, have you seen Ma lately?" Was. Then a low, careful tone. Yeah. Not recently. She's been busy." "Busy with what?" "She's retired." He coughed. "You know how village things are. People talk, but..." "Talk about what?" "Mira, maybe you should just..." "Raj." My voice came out sharp. "Tell me." He sighed. "There's this man. Comes by often. Drives her to town. Some people say they're close." Blinked. "A man?" "Yeah. She says he's helping with the house repairs your money's been paying for." "But..." He trailed off. "But what?" "People say she's wearing gold bangles again. The kind she sold after your dad died." My throat tightened. Gold bangles. She'd cried the day she sold them to pay my college tuition. I hung up before he could say more. That evening I checked her WhatsApp profile. Her picture was gone. Replaced with a blank gray circle. Messaged her. No reply. I tried calling. Busy. Something inside me started to burn. A mix of confusion, fear, and something darker. Was she in trouble? Or worse, had she chosen to replace me with someone else? I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop myself. I booked a flight home for the next day. 12 years in Canada had made me efficient. I could pack my life into a single suitcase in 20 minutes. When I told my boss I had a family emergency, she didn't ask questions. Maybe she saw the tremor in my hands. The flight felt endless. My mind kept replaying that one sentence. "Stay away, just send cash." Why would she say that? Had she been threatened? Was she ashamed of something? Or was I the shame? When I landed in Amritsar, the air hit me like a memory. Spiced, dusty, alive. Every scent tugged at childhood. Rain-soaked earth, sugarcane smoke, marigold petals. But beneath it all was a bitterness I couldn't shake. By the time I reached our village, the sun was melting into the wheat fields. Children ran barefoot past me calling my name. Mira Didi came from Canada. Their excitement was genuine. But every adult glance carried something else. Curiosity, pity, maybe even judgment. When I reached our gate, my heart stopped. The old blue paint was gone, replaced with a fresh coat of white. The courtyard had a new swing, the kind my mother had always wanted, but never bought because we can't afford it. and standing in the doorway barefoot was my mother. She froze when she saw me. Mira. Her hair was shorter. Her wrists glittered with gold bangles. I ran to her, eyes filling. Ma! But she didn't open her arms. Instead, she looked past me, toward a figure stepping out from inside the house. Man. Tall, maybe in his 50s, wearing a crisp white kurta and a smug smile that made my skin crawl. He walked up beside her, placing a hand casually on her shoulder. "Oh, so this is the daughter from Canada," he said, smirking. "I've heard so much about you." I stared at his hand, then at her. She didn't move, didn't flinch. "Yes," she said softly. "This is Mira." Something inside me cracked open. Dinner that night was suffocating. The man, Rakesh apparently, talked as if he owned the place. He boasted about improving the house, about his business in Ludhiana, about how grateful my mother was for his help. I barely touched my food. When he finally left, I turned to her. "Who is he, Ma?" Her spoon clattered against the plate. "A friend. Friend. He had his hand on you." She slammed her plate down. "You've been gone for 12 years, Mira. You don't get to judge who keeps me company." The words hit harder than any slap. "I sent you everything I earned," I whispered. "Every month." I thought. "You thought what?" Her voice cracked, eyes blazing. "That money means love. That I should grow old alone, waiting for your next transfer." Silence stretched between us, thick as smoke. "I'm not judging you," I said finally. "But something feels wrong. He's not here for you, Ma. He's here for what you have." Her lips trembled. "You're wrong." But her eyes told another story. Fear. Guilt. That night I couldn't sleep. Through the window I saw him return. He slipped through the gate, flashlight in hand, moving quietly toward the backyard where the storage shed was. My mother followed a few minutes later. They whispered in the dark, voices too low to catch, but I heard one word. "Documents." And suddenly I knew. Whatever was happening, it wasn't just about love. It was about money. My money. A house. Lives. And I was going to find out exactly what he was taking from her, before he took everything. I waited until dawn. The courtyard was silent except for the sound of a lone rooster somewhere beyond the fields. I stepped outside barefoot, my heart hammering. The air was heavy with dew, and the world smelled of wet dust and betrayal. The storage shed's door was slightly ajar. I could see the faint light of a lantern inside. My mother was sitting on a stool, her sari crumpled, her face buried in her hands. Rakesh stood across from her, a folder in his grip. I froze behind the wall, listening. "Just sign, Shanta," he said, voice low but sharp. "The girl doesn't need to know. Once the house is in my name, I'll take care of everything." My mother's voice trembled. "But Mira built this house. She sends money every month." He laughed. A dry, cruel sound. "And you think she'll stop? She's in Canada. She'll keep sending money as long as you guilt her. You said she never asks for receipts, right?" My breath caught. My hands curled into fists, nails biting into my palms. "She trusts you," he continued. "She'll never suspect. You deserve comfort after all those years of suffering. Let me handle things." "I don't want to cheat her," my mother whispered. "Then you'll lose me," he said flatly. That silence after his words hurt worse than hearing them. The kind of silence that confirmed she wouldn't fight him. And that was when something inside me went cold. I didn't cry. I didn't storm in. I turned around and walked back into the house. Measured. Controlled. When she came in half an hour later, her eyes were red. She jumped when she saw me awake. "Mira, you're up early." I smiled faintly. "Couldn't sleep." She nodded, avoiding my gaze. "There's tea on the stove." I looked at her, really looked, and saw how fear had aged her. It wasn't just wrinkles. It was defeat. "Ma," I said gently. "You're scared of him." Her shoulders stiffened. "Don't talk nonsense. Then look me in the eye and tell me you love him. She tried. She really did. But her voice broke before she could say a word. I reached for her hand. He's using you. I heard everything. Her face went pale. Ma, he's making you sign over the house, the one I built for you. The one you said was our dream. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I was doing the right thing. He said he'd help. I didn't want to bother you anymore. Bother me? I whispered. You're my mother. You could never bother me. She covered her face and sobbed. I pulled her into my arms, holding her like I hadn't since childhood. Her whole body shook. I didn't know what to do, she cried. He made me feel seen. He said I'd wasted my life waiting for you to come home. He promised to love me. Her words sliced through me, sharp and pitiful. I understood then that her betrayal wasn't born of greed, but loneliness. Still, I couldn't let him get away with it. That night, while she slept, I went through the house and gathered every document. Bank receipts, property papers, the notarized ownership certificates I'd mailed years ago. I locked them in my suitcase. The next morning I told her calmly, invite him for lunch. Tell him I'm leaving tonight. Her eyes widened. Mira, please ma, just do it. She hesitated then nodded. When Rakesh arrived, he wore that same smug smile, his teeth yellow against the sun. Ah, the Canada girl is heading back, eh? Don't worry, Shanta. I'll take good care of everything. I set the table myself. Simple food, but I served him first. You must be the man who's been helping my mother, I said sweetly. She told me so much about you. He puffed up. Yes, yes. She's been alone too long. Someone had to step in. I leaned forward, pretending to be impressed. You know, I'm so grateful. I even kept a record of every dollar I sent for the house. My bank tracks everything. It's all in my name. His fork froze midair. Smiled. Oh, and the property lawyer I spoke with this morning. He said transferring ownership without the beneficiary's consent is considered fraud. Did you know that? My mother looked between us, shocked. Rakesh forced a laugh. You must have misunderstood. Cut him off. No, I heard you. Last night. The shed. His face went red. You little. I stood up, my chair scraping the floor. Don't. I've already sent your name and photo to my lawyer. If anything happens to me or my mother, they'll find you. He turned to my mother, voice desperate now. Shanta, she's lying. I love you. Stop, she shouted. For the first time I saw her stand tall again, her voice cracking like thunder. You don't love anyone. Get out of my house. He sneered, muttered something under his breath, and stormed out. The gate slammed so hard the latch snapped. That night, my mother and I sat on the terrace under the dim light of a single bulb. She was quiet for a long time before whispering, I'm sorry. I turned to her. You don't need to apologize. You just forgot who you were for a while. She looked at me with wet eyes. You shouldn't have to fix the mess I made. Maybe not, I said softly. But I will. The next morning we went to the notary office together. I had the house deed amended, legally secured under both our names, irrevocable without my signature. When the officer stamped the paper, my mother let out a long breath, like she'd been holding it for years. Weeks later, before I flew back to Canada, I helped her rebuild her small tailoring business. She smiled more often. She cooked again. The gold bangles stayed in a drawer. On my last night, as I zipped my suitcase, she stood in the doorway. You were right, she said quietly. He wanted the house. I looked up. And you? She smiled faintly. I wanted to believe someone could love me again. I walked over, took her hands, and said the words I'd been holding back since the day I landed. I love you. That's enough. When my plane took off, I stared down at the patchwork of fields disappearing beneath the clouds. For 12 years, I thought betrayal came from strangers. From lovers, from friends. But sometimes it comes from the people who love you most, the ones who are simply too human, too lonely to know better. Still, forgiveness isn't weakness. It's reclaiming the power someone else tried to take. And this time I wasn't sending money home. I was sending strength.